Buenos nachos. Buenos nachos. Buenos nachos. What it is, what it was, and what it shall be. What's going on, everybody? This is your boy, Dr. Will Rogers, a.k.a. Master Teacher 33, and tonight is Thursday. That's right. Thursday, March the 10th, 2022, and the time is 7:45 Central Time. Jump right in talking about the MT33 1K Business Investment Club. So we mentioned this before. We've been talking about this for a while. Did this last year, kind of, sort of. Then actually a few years ago, right before COVID hit, and that kind of changed the game plan a little bit. So we kind of want to just review because we talked about this prior to doing the in-person meeting in Big D on May the 13th and 14th. We still are going to do the roundtable Zoom call just to give everybody the opportunity to understand what we are really all about. What I'm really all about, especially from the perspective of moving forward in the current economy because of the way things are with 2022 and moving forward. And tonight what we're talking about is just, okay, what does this look like for everybody? For everybody, especially for people who want to understand, I'm just doing what marketing, because again, we're really in the business of marketing. We're not in the business of really production. So when we talked about it, and I mentioned this before, I mentioned that instead of everybody paying $1,000 and up to come to the event on May the 13th, then Sister Diane mentioned, hey, it doesn't really have to be either or, shit, we can do both. So today we want to talk about option one. So option number one is what we've talked about before, and we've actually kind of sort of did before. That was one of the things that we were looking at when we did the first Master Teacher 33 roundtable. Now, this opportunity allows us to be able to move forward. Sister Cheryl West, Reverend Cheryl, I should say, not Sister Cheryl West as well, but Reverend Cheryl really, we've been talking about this for a couple of years now. It's very difficult to do. What does this look like? Very simply, very plainly, the most important thing, no matter what business that you're in, is that you need to have a proprietary product, service, or information. Now, especially for us out of Keep-It-On, the number one thing that prohibits us from moving forward in business is usually funding. Because if you go to the bank, depending on, you can go try to find grants, but there are loopholes. Not loopholes, I should say. There are barriers of entry. Can it be done? Absolutely. Should you pursue that? Absolutely. If you are, let's say, if you're a veteran and you are a post-war veteran, you did combat, there's programs for you. So there's a lot of programs out. Okay, that's not really what we're talking about. What we're talking about today is what we've been talking about and what I've done, not only for myself personally, and when we talk about bootstrapping your way up from the bottom. Now, we mentioned this, or this came about when we agreed to do the seminar on May the 13th and the 14th. Because right after we agreed to do the seminar, well, we kind of bounced around, talked with Brother David Andrews, you guys know, who does this for corporate America. He came on. We did the seminar. We did the show about the pros and cons of the roundtable meeting. Well, the thing that dropped in my spirit was, man, the amount of money that we're spending, because people are coming from, like Sister Cheryl West coming from Michigan, I think Lansing. Because I'm getting ready to go to Chicago, which is kind of close to Michigan, I think, Sister Cheryl. To my son is graduating from Navy boot camp. So I'm looking at the amount of money that I'm spending for me and the wife to go round trip. Then rent a car, Navy large, so we get a little discount there. Still, you're going to blow about $1,000 easy. So everybody that's coming is going to blow about, and not blow meaning throw away, because the event will be great. However, we're going to sit around a table and we're going to share and we're going to take away, because remember, the whole point of everything in life is to get unstuck. What would that mean for you? Everybody's definition of stuck, everybody gets to a point and they plateau. I like the word plateau better than stuck. Maybe you're at $12 an hour and you've been there for 5 years. Okay, how do we get you to $14 an hour? That's the point of the roundtable meeting. Now, the point of the Master Teacher 33 $1,000 Business Investment Club is when you do these 5 steps, then you are eligible to receive funding. The goal is to have a funding device for young Al-Keep-It-Ons It doesn't matter, I say I keep it on because that's the original people, spirit people. So it doesn't matter whether you're red, black, blue, or green. We're not into that racism stuff. We're not into religion. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care if you're atheist. We're not into that. We're into proprietary products. We're into now, but we're not doing it the capitalistic way. Remember, we already broke that down as well because we know that doesn't work. That requires big ego. That requires sociopathic and psychopathic behavior. And then when we broke down social, and this is very, very important because this is what everybody does. And if we're not careful, we're just going to create another social construct. Everything on earth is a capitalistic social construct. In layman's terms, there is a social economic barrier of entry. And we know that all health problems, especially in the black community, is related to low social economic status, meaning Boo-Boo down the street got a Louis Vuitton. I don't. I feel. Jim Bob just crossed the street. He just bought him a brand new Mercedes. I'm still driving around in my Toyota Prius. I feel. Now remember, this is biologically proven. This is scientifically proven by Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and MIT. So I'm not here to debate tonight. I know there are some high vibrational, historically black Negroes went to some fancy college and y'all got your degrees and y'all don't want to debate. We're not here to debate. We're talking about spiritual constructivism. Those two terms you probably never heard before. Because there's no organization on the planet that I can find that has that element. We'll be the first one. Now, let me break down what that means before we break down how your $1,000 is going to be used. And we're going to rotate this so at least I'm thinking every 90 days. Meaning, because remember, I already said I'm going to double whatever we generate. So if I got 10 people and 10 people put in $1,000, that's 10,000. I'm going to put in 10. So we'll have 20. That's going to be our funding source for any organization or any business or any idea that is presented to me and the board, which is you, because you gave $1,000. We all going to vote. And all the 20 grand goes to Jim Bob. I don't care who Jim Bob is, because Jim Bob has a proprietary skill. Jim Bob has perfected his skill set. Jim Bob has demonstrated his skill set. Jim Bob has a propelling offer that is so propelling, I'm going to give Jim Bob 20 grand. And Jim Bob's proprietary skill set that he has perfected and demonstrated and prepared a compelling offer to present to the market in exchange, you can't go, that's guaranteed money. Because that's exactly what I did. So people will pay to solve problems. I don't care what color you are. If you are a black man, look at Dr. Sabi's clients. He had everybody from Michael Jackson to Sylvester Stallone, everybody that had herpes and AIDS back in the day, they went to Dr. Sabi. Now, I've seen his list, personally. I don't know if you've seen it. What about Dr. Deborah Blair? I've seen his list. What about my boy, Dr. Miles Monroe? You know that Miles Monroe consulted damn near every major president on the planet? Every country in Africa, they call Dr. Miles Monroe on how to construct business. Kingdom, with kingdom principles. None of this worldly shiznits. So I use the same principles. That's why, again, that was my mentor, if you want to use that term. So I use the law of what is called abatement. What is abatement? That's what we covered in the module number 2. And I told you guys that we went through it. We spent 8 to 7 days talking about what we call jurisdictional law, contract law, straw man, trust funds, deeds. I do abatement. What is abatement? Abatement is, that's not me. What does that mean? That's my all caps name and state. Remember I told you guys the website to go to look all of this stuff up. We went through all that in module 2. So that means if you remember the People Development Center, now you know what I've been doing, which is called, in Latin, straminos homos, that was passed by House Joint Resolution 192. Now, you can look all of this up. United States Congress passed this. We looked all of this up. Remember, we did all this in Module 2. We're on Module 4 now. So when I get letters to go to court, or I get letters from IRS, what do? That's not me. That's my all caps name is straight. That's my all caps name is state. What happens? They try 3 times, and what happens? The majority, Wizard of Oz, went through this. Now, I've been doing this for I don't know how many years. I get letters I get letters. I got warrants. I got all this stuff. I'm still a free man because I'm not my all caps name is state. I'm a sovereign. I'm a child of the King. Because I read Philippians 5:20, and he says I'm a citizen of heaven, not of earth. I'm just a pilgrim passing through. Boo boo, you got the wrong man. Now, you cannot get into an argument because once you argue, that means that you are debating what they call common law. And remember, we're going to break down in Module 5 law, which means land, air, water. So I don't do land, air, water. I'm spirit, boo boo. I'm etheric. So land, I'm not interested. Air, I don't debate. Water, next week. I'm not on that program. So this is totally different from anything that you've probably read or heard. So what we're talking about is a cosmic. This is God. This is universal. I'm sovereign. I'm not a citizen. Not on this 3D reality anyway. Now, when it comes to business, we got to understand that capitalism means to create a problem, then offer a solution. So we're not doing that. I'm not going to give you cancer and then give you a solution to cancer. And I know I caused your problem. I'm not going to give you a headache and then offer you no aspirin. That's what the dominant culture is doing. Okay, we already done that. Now, if you want to do that, that shit works great. You become a millionaire. You make a lot of money. You may have a few enemies. You may not sleep at night, but you're going to make money. Okay, I'm not in that program. So I'm not here trying to create a problem and then offer a solution. That's the Helican dialectic. So what we're doing is we're a round table of spiritual investors who understand how the world works. We know that we're in this world, but we're not of this world. We know that the wealth of the wicked is stored up for me. So I gotta go get my money. I don't know what y'all are doing. So I know because I don't just read it. I actually implement it. 2 totally different things. So I've changed the chemistry or the construct of my biology that allows me to be able to, what we talked about before, when we talked about the spiritual connection that you have with Source, so that way you know in advance when bad things are happening. What does that mean? That just simply means that you have a spiritual connection. So to be a member of this group is not just about what we call money. It's about over understanding that we got to have a spiritual connection. Why? We're all vibrating on the same team. So number 1, it's $1,000 to join. And we can either select the treasury or I just throw the money in my account. The money sits there. What do we do with the money? We take the money and we invest it. The goal is to do what? Make the money double. Let's say we have a meeting. Somebody on the board wants to present their product that meets the 5 points that I have in the bulletin or that I shared with you guys in the text. Because what we number one we're doing is all that red tape, all the overhead, all of the ego, all of the fear, all the stress, all the hoop jumping, all that's gone. You see, brothers and sisters, it's extremely important that you understand that we're all designed by God. I'm a communicator. I'm a very creative communicator. You may be a very creative doer. You may be a very creative leader. You may be a very creative intuitive, 2. You may be a very creative creator, 3. You may, like I said earlier, a very creative doer, 4. You may be a very creative freedom establisher or freedom fighter, 5. You may be a very creative communicator, 6. You may be a very creative intellect, 7. You may be a very creative executive, 8. You may be a very creative humanitarian who loves to do things at a high level, 9. So none of us are going to see the world the same. So that means everybody's right. Nobody's wrong. So when we come to a round table and we sit across the aisle, everybody has equal shares because everybody put in $1,000. So now what we want to do is once we get the nest egg, regardless of the amount, we could lower the barrier of entry. We could say $500. It doesn't matter. It's just what the group decides. So number one, I want to invite you to be a part of the group. Now, if you don't want to do the group, remember, this has nothing to do with anything else. This is totally separate from me, everything else that we've done. Only thing that this group is going to do is we're going to look at what everybody in the group is doing. Let's say Sister Kiwata's in the group. And let's say Kiwata comes out with a new cookbook. We're going to look at Sister Kiwata's cookbook. And we're going to see, is that cookbook worth investing in to help Sister Kiwata get to the next level? If once Sister Kiwata gets to that next level, as a group, we can vote on the terms of payment. I'm not really interested in the interest. I'm just really interested in just putting the money back in the group so we can do it again. Or the group may decide to make it as a grant. Totally up to the group. Maybe we decide to take the 10 grand and just give it to the Kiwata and no strings attached. You don't have to pay it back. Then what do we do next? Well, we got to refund the group. Maybe we vote on, which is what I would like to do, which what most investment clubs do, is that as the Kiwata grows, she pays back the funds off the profit. If there's no profit, okay, there's no payment. If there's profit, then there is payment. That's what I do with PayPal. So I get a loan from PayPal for $100,000. I take the $100,000 that I get from PayPal. They have a bare minimum that I select when I take out the loan. And every 90 days, as long as I meet the bare minimum, which is usually just the interest, PayPal doesn't care. Obviously, I pay it off a lot sooner than that. Why? Because I want to take it out again at a higher rate. Because remember, I've been doing this now for almost 10 years. So that's why I'm at such a large amount. And I pay it back because guess what? I pay it back at my leisure. I pay it back over time. And then there's other options and other ways by which to fund. So the goal, I kind of got this idea actually from what PayPal has done for me, because now I never have no stress because I always have working capital. So it's a way to build a business, because the number one problem that people have when they build a business and start it from scratch is funding. For the first year, some people say 5 years. You're worried about how you're going to make how you're going to break even. So the biggest barrier to entry is always funding. So we got a group of people that put funds, and I'm saying 1,000. Again, it can be 500. The amount doesn't matter. The goal is for us to be able to sit down at a round table and do what I'm doing. Now, I could take right now, and if I put X amount of dollars into ads, which is one of the options. So what does that do? Well, the ads, the agencies, there are some agencies that do guarantee the return. Some don't. That's an option. So the Kiwata could do that, because I know that works, because again, my boy Billy Jean does it. Now, how come I haven't done it? Well, I already did it, and it bit me in the butt, meaning that I got more offers than I could prepare for. So if I had a dependable staff of, let's say, 10 people that were okay with the ups and downs of business, because then I would be doing paid advertising. Why? Because I know I can meet the demand of pumping out the Dear Canary reports. But right now I can't meet the demand, so I don't have to advertise. So I got a good system set up where anytime I need to generate more capital, I do organic, what I call organic marketing, metaphysical marketing. That simply means I put more energy into the market, and therefore I get more money from the market. That's, again, metaphysical or organic. They call it evergreen marketing now. They changed the term. I got my own term. It's called metaphysical marketing. But the dominant culture, they call it an evergreen marketing. Now, I have a course on sales funnels. So I got about 30 of them right now. I haven't used none of them because they work. But the problem is they work. So I have a very good problem. I like having this problem. That's why I really am not interested in solving it. I like being in a position where there's more demand than I can meet. So if I want to ramp up the demand or meet the demand, then I can expand the demand. And it's very difficult. As you guys know, man, at least 30. I've probably hired at least 30 different processors. To date, over the last 5-6 years, I only got one processor that can pump out 5 reports in a day. Everybody else, after 2 or 3 weeks, even me, after a month or two, processing these deal committee reports is difficult. That's why I wanted to automate until I got a bid on how much it would cost to turn my process into a program. And now the lowest bid I got was like 150. Highest was about 500,000. Now, one day that price will come down, or either I'm just going to go ahead and pay it. To do what? To automate my process. Then after that, I really want it to work, but I kind of like working. So I'm not really in no hurry to automate. But I wish I could clone my one processor that I have that can pump out 5 reports a day. Because I can't do it. I ain't met nobody else that could do it. But the point of the matter is, that's what I would do with the money. Now, everybody else has a sticking point. That's my sticking point. My sticking point to go from 300,000 to 5, 6, 7, 8, or a million is scale. But scale on a level that the dominant culture used to the evergreen scaling. Because evergreen scale is what I do now. And that is, if I want to make more money, I make more posts. When I'm starting to overrun, or like when I got sick, or if my processor gets sick, or she goes on vacation, or something like that, I scale back. But remember, people ask me all the time, it has to be a natural extension. Meaning what? That person who was able to process those reports, her numbers fit that perfectly. That's why that's easy for her to do. So I'm not going to put somebody who's a 5 and a 1, because that's not going to work. Why? You are more like a recruiter. You are outgoing. You're a socialite. You're an event planner, and you're a leader. You can't take orders. If I tell you, hey, I need a report done by 5, first thing you say, who the hell? I don't work for you. And you're going to go back out there and, get your Popeye chicken sandwich. I mean, not you personally, but you know what I mean. So that's why it's so difficult to find, because the numbers have to match. You got to have that 7. You got to be very intelligent, but then you got to have a little bit of the lone wolf recluseness, and you got to be a 4. Because the 4s, those are the worker bees. Those are the stabilizers. Those are the foundations. That's one of the reasons I married my wife. She's a 4. Because I know I don't have that attribute and characteristic. But 4s are not good organizers. But they damn good workers. But they don't like to be out front. They like to be in the back. They are the cog that makes the engine go chuck, 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 chuck. So as a group, we got to know that. So that way we don't give money to somebody that ain't going to be able to give it back. Or that's not going to be able to fulfill all their promise. Because everybody on this call pretty much meet the criteria. Because almost everybody on this call, you have a proprietary skill set in mind or already developed. You have perfected that skill set, or you have the capacity to perfect that skill set. And number 3, you have demonstrated that you have a skill set. All you got to do is number 4 and number 5. And number 4 is, now you need to formulate a strategy or an effective offer. And again, I can help you with that. Because again, one of the things that I've done over the years is come up with different offers, because an offer is really simple. Number 1, you got to get my attention. The way you get my attention is by telling me you're going to solve a problem. Then it's telling me how you're going to solve the problem, the process, and then solving my problem. So it's real easy to get people's attention, at least for me. You just got to basically tell me my problem. But then that's the problem, because I don't know everybody's problem. Do you? So if somebody's having marital problems, that's not a problem. What's the problem? Well, if you're having marital problems, that means someone is being devalued. Okay, who's been devalued? Usually it's both. So usually the wife is saying or doing something that make the husband feel less than, and usually the husband is saying or doing something that makes the wife feel less than. That's always at the root, at the base, at the core, at the bottom line, because remember, nobody feels less when they are more. Because remember, what is sadness? This is the psychology behind money. Sadness is a feeling that you have lost or that your value has been lessened. How can you lose value? Well, people don't see your worth. Or people don't need. You got a skill set, but I don't need it. You are a professional. You are the best sanitation engineer in the world. You can mop a floor and make that sucker glisten. Well, I got carpet. I don't need. The whole house is carpet or tile. You know how to buff a floor. You can put 3 layers of wax. You can eat off the floor. But your skill set is not in demand, brother, sister. So therefore, that would not be a good product for us as a group to invest in. So as a group, we got to be able to know that, though. Because remember, you can never make a decision with emotion. The decision as a group must be made with reason and logic. As a leader of the group, that's my job, is to remind the group. Emotionally, I'm emotionally invested. This is what they do on Shark Tank, by the way. That's basically what we're doing, is we're forming a little Shark Tank. But the people who are vying for the funds are the people that's actually in the group. And the funds stay in the group and just draw interest. And if we don't do nothing else, we split up the interest at the end of the year. Or we just get the funds back. But the goal is for everybody on the call to use the funds. I would love if we could replenish the funds every 30 days. 1 month we give 10 grand to Sister Diane. Next month we give 10 grand to Sister Veronica Smith. Next month we give 10 grand to Dr. Jerome Spread. Next month we give 20 grand to our Brother George. Next month we give 20 grand to Sister Audra. Next month we give 20 grand to Sister Carolina. The goal is to be able to not only to give the money out, but we're investing in businesses that have so much potential that they're going to generate the capital. There are people right now, and this is another reason why I'm doing this, on TikTok making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. Kids, 21, 22, 23. Now, usually it's not purpose-based. Usually it is flipping products. That is going to start becoming a little bit tighter because the market is changing. That's part of the group, is to educate not only the group, but also to develop. Meaning what? As a group of 10 people, one standing alone is easily defeated, 2 standing back and conquer. And remember, there's wisdom in the group. So we meet once a week. Let's say the group has 10 people. And the 10 people in this group that meet once a week, we meet once every other week. We meet once a month, whatever the group decides. And we're looking at not only my products, but we're looking at everybody in the group's product. And everybody in the group comes to every meeting and presents their product or their ideal. And if we find a product or an ideal or a funding or a way, for example, like in my case, where am I stuck at? I'm stuck at scaling because it does take a certain brain to be able to just sit at a computer all day and add up numbers, take people's names, copy and paste information all day, every single day. I'm not going to lie to you because I did it for 10 years before I outsourced it. I would never go back to doing it. I love my product. I just don't like the processing of the product. That's why eventually I know I have to automate. Because it's a rare to find somebody who's very I use that word, don't know how to pronounce it, recluse, and somebody who's very intelligent, and somebody who is a lone wolf. They really, 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 everybody say they like working alone, but they really don't. It's hard to find people like that, lone wolves with a mental capacity, and doesn't feel they actually like it. I'm talking about people who do it for money. I know about people who like it. It's hard to do. So I've only found one. Usually, that's what it's like finding a diamond. So the whole point of the group, there's a diamond in another area too. Our job is to find that diamond. You are a diamond too. But your diamondness has not yet been discovered. You have not uncovered your proprietary skill set. Now, everybody knows the definition of the word proprietary, right? We don't have to break that down. Oh, we do? Okay, let's break it down there. So, like on Shark Tank, the first thing that they ask them is this information proprietary? I mean, you got a patent on that. In other words, how many other people got your recipe? So if Sister Kid wants to come out with some chocolate chip cookies, and these protein-based, let's say she comes up and she uses stevia, because it doesn't have an effect on your blood sugar. Yet she's able to flavor it where it still tastes like sugar, but it's not. Or at least it doesn't affect the body like sugar does. And it has 30 grams of protein in it. So it's just like eating a steak. But it's like eating dessert. But it doesn't affect the glucose level, so you can stay in ketosis or autophagy, meaning instead of just eating protein in the first 7 days of my thing, which is one of the things I want to do, is develop a whole product line, kind of like what Dr. Atkins was doing, that doesn't affect the blood sugar level. Why? You be a millionaire. Everybody's trying to do that. It's hard to do, though. It's hard to not. How do you stop the body from producing insulin? You cannot put no carbs, no sugar in the body. Nobody's figured out how to do that yet. Like on a global scale. So whoever figures that out, it's like male pattern baldness. Nobody's figured out how to get rid of male pattern baldness. Now, a lot of people say they have, but that's plugs, and that's because it's a gimmick. Otherwise, it'd be selling like hotcakes. So that's the point. The point is because there are no problems, remember. There is I already know, and I might have to tackle that one. I already know that there's a solution. There's a solution. There's a plant for freaking everything on the planet. There is a plant, I'm telling you. Every time I think I've hit my head up against a brick wall with something that can't be, quote unquote, cured, these incurable diseases, or something that can't be up, bam, I meet the plant like that when I found out about mountain laurel. And the dominant culture knows because the first thing that they do is it's like, I don't know if you guys have been reading up on that, the young black kid from, I think it was Nigeria, who now he's getting all these death threats and he's in hiding. He was a young kid that developed a freaking television that run off of air. The television runs off of air. No electrical parts, it runs off the ether. Now, another guy developed a car, another kid developed a helicopter. I don't know why they all out in, like, Africa. They say nothing good comes out of Africa. You have those three young kids, and all of them, I think, are under 23. The one dude who did the television, which is kind of weird, they went after the guy with that. Long story short, what are you saying, Doc? I'm just saying that those guys need funding. All the billionaires over there in Africa, which ain't very many of them, but the ones that are, even their own government is scared to touch it. Why? They know the dominant culture is not going to let no little skinny African mess up their game. So now my boy's in hiding, running for his life. Because, like everybody else who solves that the guy came up with the car that runs off water, and watched a YouTube video about his life story, he met with some men. The next day they found him in the alley dead. He was meeting with some men to sign a contract to take his car that runs off of water global. Next day he's dead. So some ideals, you might want to keep them proprietary. Like some of the stuff I know that I don't talk about in public. And every time I try to squeak out a little bit of information, I get slapped on the hand in my YouTube videos. Like I'm still in Facebook jail. I know that, right? It's been like almost a year, still in Facebook jail. As far as doing a live, I cannot do Facebook lives anymore. Been like that for over a year. I don't know nobody else has been that long. And I know that they deleted my YouTube channel. So the point is for us to, because maybe I can't do it, but guess what? You still got a YouTube channel. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. So that's the point of the group. And the point of the life management system. And the point of everything that I do. The point of everything that I do, and let me close with this, because it's extremely important, brothers and sisters, that all I do is like, the universe works on the ether. Now remember, the ether, according to Einstein, doesn't exist. That was a book called The Atom Smashing Power of the Mind. It's an old book. I forgot who it was. It was like the book The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. And I think it's either written by Wallace Wattles or Napoleon Hill, one of those guys from, it may be my boy, what's his name? Reverend Ike, or he's the other dude. One of those guys. It's called Atom. It talks about how a thought literally smashes atoms. The book breaks down the power of unity. As I talked about with the global, why do they keep track of the global consciousness of Earth? Right now, it's at 125. Bam, they invaded, Ukraine. Because vibrationally, if the vibration of a group of people is above 125, it's like God is on their side. It's like the universe collapsed. Now, I talked about this out of my book, The Ultimate Secret to Being Rich, because this is the ultimate secret. The universe collapses on a made-up mind. The only thing, the universe responds to a made-up mind. That's it. That's the secret to wealth. That's the secret to life. The universe responds to a made-up mind. That's why it's dangerous to change your mind. Because when you make up your mind and you change your mind, you changing your universe. You changing the frequency in the air. You changing the whole dynamics of your worldview. That's why before you make up your mind, see, nobody told us this when we were formulating our belief system. You was a child when you became a Christian. You was a child when you started to realize that you was black or that you was white, that you identify with your race. All of your belief system you adopted as a child. Now, remember, you can Google right now what we talked about before, so that way you can see the science behind social constructionism, so you can understand how social norms, the word social should be neurological or psychological. So all of your neurological and psychological functions is constructed. They are built. Once they are built, they're pretty much in stone. So the point of the group is to deconstruct when it comes to the economy and your wealth, your construction. For example, if I unmuted everybody mic, and I ask you flat out, if you're not making $100,000 a year, what would it take and how long? You would give me your belief system, but it's not going to be formulated. I do this to myself all the time. This is how I can lose, like right now, I can drop 30 pounds in 2 weeks, 14 days, instead of 30. Why? I asked myself, how long does it take to lose 30 pounds? Myself said, a pound a day. Okay, what was that based upon? Nothing. It was just, that seemed feasible to me. So I've been doing 30. I've been advertising. I remember I got blocked off of told by TikTok that I was making exaggerated wealth claims or health claims, and if I continued, then I'll get kicked out of TikTok. So I can't say that. You can't say how to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. Like you can't say what Max Gershom found out, that if you drink vegetable juice. If you go out and if you buy some greens and some kale and some romaine lettuce and you blend it and you add a little carrot and green apple for the taste and you drink it for 30 days, you cannot have cancer. This is proven. I don't know how many people he did it to. You can go right now to Max Gershom Institute and you can read it right now of how many people he's cured of cancer. But if you say you can cure cancer, the FDA will be at your house. You can go to jail for making false medical claims in the United States. You will be barred. Look at the health ranger, Mike Adams. He's barred off of almost every major platform, so he created his own. You get into like Mike Adams you see him on other people's channel. David Icke, same thing, even though I don't really like either one of those guys. But the point is, you got to be careful with the claims, even though you're saying them and they work. The point of making that statement is, right now, you have a claim. What is the claim? You believe that it takes 30 pounds. It takes 30 days to lose 30 pounds. Does it? That's a social construct. What does that mean? A group of people got together and said it takes 30 pounds for 30 days. Everybody believed it. That became a construct. How do you create another one? Ask yourself, is there any way possible for me to lose more than 30 pounds in 30 days? The answer to that question would be yes, there is. You can starve. You just drink nothing but water and work out 3 times a day. You probably pass out doing some of your workouts. Right? So you got to work out forever. Do like I do. 15 minutes. You get a little woozy. Okay, sit down. Go drink some sodium, potassium, take your ass a nap, get up and do it again. I did that when I had to drop some weight to get in the Marines, actually, and I did that actually when I was boxing. Way back in the day, because I had to drop some pounds to lose weight. So can it be done? Absolutely. Are you willing to do it? No, I'm not. Okay, then it stays 30 pounds for you. I can ask everybody that same question with money. I can unmute everybody's mic right now, and I can ask you, is it possible for you to make $1 million? Everybody should say, yes, Doc, it's possible for me to make $1 million. My next question to you would be, how come you don't have $1 million right now? Your response is going to be what I call excuses. You're going to tell me all of the reasons why you don't have $1 million. You will not show me a blueprint or a formulation that you've written down, a step-by-step process to make $1 million like I have on my wall. Because if you did, what happens is the brain forces you into situations to manifest what you wrote down. Then you got to do what I did. Then you got to do what I do. Your brain activates the monkey mind to get you off your grind. So you can come up with excuses. You can say, I'll do that shit tomorrow. I'll send that email next week. I'll do this. So it can be done, and there is a way to do it, but we can't stay on track. So the point of the group is to help us stay on track. So this will be the first group that I'll have where it's going to be boot to bottom. I can't say it in the Marine Corps way, but y'all get it. We're going to hold each other accountable. Why? Because I don't like wasting my money. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but homie, I don't play when it comes to my money. I like my money to make money. That's why I'm doing the group. So this group, unlike any other group, this is a serious group. This is like we're starting a company. I might come up with a whole different name. Something that we might get together as a group and come up with a totally different name. It's just not about me, but about the whole group, based upon the character of the group. In other words, this is a group of ass kickers. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna vibrationally and economically kick ass. That's all we're gonna do. We're gonna flip. The goal is to flip every 90 days. Whatever it is, we're flipping it. We're only doing stuff that generates capital based upon not only having a proprietary information, but also based upon the needs of the market. Because you could have a proprietary way, going back to using Sister Kiwata as an example, because I know Sister Kiwata is a chef. She's a great cook. So Sister Kiwata may come up with a protein chocolate chip cookie that doesn't spike your insulin level, that can be eaten during ketosis, So that way you ain't just eating no dry ass chicken all day. You actually feel like you eating dessert, even though, remember that, because that was what Atkins did. Atkins came out with protein bars that had no sugar in it. But Atkins was smart. All them protein bars had sugar alcohol. Again, dominant culture. Create problem, off solution. Nobody back then had heard of sugar alcohol. They heard of glucose, fructose, buctose, fructose, lactose, all the other toses, but they've never heard of sugar alcohol. So then the question came out, is sugar alcohol keto friendly? They had Atkins up against the wall, but Atkins came out. Now remember, this is before most of you guys were born. I remember this shit was like in the 70s and 80s. So Atkins came out and he proved that his sugar alcohol derivative has no, or use the word that he used, negligible effects on the blood alcohol, on the blood sugar level. Now the closest thing to that is stevia. All of the other sweeteners, aspartame, saccharin, luciferum, that it's called ACE, sucrose, glucose, fructose, all that other shit. I don't know if it causes cancer, but it also, because remember, all this is inside sugar free. What are you saying, Doc? What's the point? This causes other problems. We're not in the business of causing problems, because after I give you the sugar alcohol or aspartame, it's going to create other problems. And I'm going to create a product to solve that other problem. That's just going to create another problem. So we solve one problem while creating two. That is the dominant culture's way of doing business. We're not interested in doing that. I'm not interested in, that's what makes it difficult. So this is old-fashioned, boots on the ground organization where we're going to find proprietary skills. Everybody has one. And so we're going to examine you until we expose you. And then I'm going to find out that, you know what? You are a good blank. You're going to deny it because you haven't valued it and nobody else has valued it. You know, our family, they don't value our worth and our value. They're really not supposed to, because our worth and our value usually gets us in trouble. Like me. My worth, my value comes from my creative way to structure speech. That's really, like Dick and report, that's just a way of putting it on paper. But really, where I make money at is if I was in front of 100,000 people and I had to convince them. Let's say there's 100,000 people who wanted to kill me. If I was in front of 100,000 people and the rope was around my neck, and they say, Doc, you got 5 minutes to convince us why we shouldn't pull this loose. And they all KKK members. I'll be head of KKK in about 5 minutes. I have the gift of gab. Now, I never used it other than getting digits. Then I went into, not necessarily conning people out of money, but taking people's money because I did not have a system. Now I have a system. Before, I had always remembered my first business that I wrote inside my book, Ultimate Secret to Being Rich. Then all of my investors gave me blank checks. I just was not smart enough, or I was smart enough, because I never paid none of them fools back. Because back then, every business I had failed, because I didn't have what I have now. What do I have now? Self-image. Proper self-image. So this group, all we're going to do every day, or whenever we meet once a week, I got to get you guys self-image to God's, not mine, God's. I got to get you to really honestly see yourself as God. Or, for us, for you Bible thumpers, as an ambassador, as a representative, as an individual expression of God. Is that digestible? Can we agree upon that? Because as a group, we got to agree upon our terms, because that's going to establish our world. I live in a world where all things are possible, because that's what it says. Because The Bible says all things, through Christ, all things are possible. I mean, that's in the book too. Jesus says that we can do all things. So what is the point? The point is, regardless of where you are at mentally, the first thing is everybody's deciding on, or everybody coming up with the $1,000. We'll kick off a starting date. Once I get emails from people who say yay or nay, and we get, we'll do a minimum of 5, so that way we have like a cutoff date. So cutoff, meaning that if we don't have at least 5, then yeah, and then we won't have no ending. We can go as high as it doesn't really matter. And then this group will have, like we do all, so we'll have separate meetings. I prefer once a week, based upon everybody's schedule. If there's 5 people in the group, let's say everybody gets off at 7. Okay, we'll meet every night at 7:30. Every week at 7:30. And what are we going to be doing during these meetings? We're going to be laying out what they call a founder's charter. That just simply means I got all that stuff done for me, but we're doing something totally different from what I've done with all the organizations. So now we're literally creating a round table where everybody has an equal share, where there is no quote unquote boss. It's literally everybody has like a 10% ownership, 10% stake, and it has to be an odd number. Because if we got 6 people, then it could be 3 and 3. So we want to have 5, 7, 9, 11. So that way we can never end in we vote on a project to move forward. We're always able to get things done. Otherwise, we're just doing the same thing that already exists. We're just recreating Congress and all these other corporations that's out there. But the rules of engagement are very clear. It must be proprietary, meaning it must be something. There's nothing new under the sun, but it's something that's either faster, has an extra ingredient, it has a different color. It could be a bike, but now this bike does blank. All bikes do blank, but we got a bike that not only does blank, like when they came out with the bike, then they added a little motor onto it, and then you can switch from pedaling people power to what's called power. Okay, great. That's already out. Oh, but this one is solar out. Oh, okay, because I've seen one with gas. I've seen an electric. I ain't never seen a solar powered bike. Now, they probably out there. I ain't checked, but that's just an example. Those are the kind of products that we're talking about, that people on this call have the brain power by which to create, because we're all very, very gifted. So for everybody that's interested, again, just email me, masterteacher30.com@gmail.com. If not, this doesn't change anything about what we got planned on, which more information will be coming out about which we'll probably do that next week. We'll have the roundtable meeting about and the planning of the physical event that is scheduled to take place on May the 13th and May the 14th, right outside of Dallas, Texas, in either McKinney or Flower Mound. Depending on, I'm thinking Flower Mound because that location is a little bit bigger. So yeah, I think we'll go with Flower Mound. So we'll have more information coming out with that, and we'll do a separate meeting on that on Wednesday. But don't forget, everybody, if you're interested in this business club, please email me at masterteacher30.com@gmail.com. All right, you guys, love you, appreciate you. We'll see you guys mañana. God bless.